Good morning. Happy Sunday and happy Enchanted April, day 26. We've been at this a while, haven't we? Thanks to everybody who's going to be joining. You know, what an interesting leap of faith it is to do these things live. I'm sure that you guys do some too. Hi, Alyssa. And you start out and you don't know if anybody's going to come, but then they do. And to me, that's kind of an indication of how life works. Just when it looks like nothing's going to come of this, there's no way out of this thing, I'm just here all alone, and then people show up. It's really, really special. Today I am wearing my bunny dress. See my bunny dress? And I wanted to mention it. Well, first, I just love it because it has bunnies, like the PETA bunny or the cruelty-free toiletries leaping bunny. But I saw this dress on somebody else in a Starbucks. I remember Starbucks. If you know New York City, this was the Starbucks on the east side of Union Square, there at 14th Street, and it was a pretty long line, and I looked over, and here's this woman with bunnies on her dress. Good heavens! I had to have a dress with bunnies, so I asked where she got it, and it was online, and well, what's the .com? So I got the information, and it was a little bit of a thing to get this dress because first they sent it to me in some sort of children's size, so we had to send that back and start over, and it was from the season before, and they really had to do some digging. But you know, if something is meant for you, nobody can keep it from you. Therefore, I have a bunny dress. Now, that particular kind of instance where I see somebody wearing something and ask where they got it, that's not happening right now because I'm hardly seeing anybody in 3 dimensions, which I'm sure is the situation for most of you as well. So this morning, I was coming up from downstairs after I'd walked the dog and picked up a grocery delivery, and there was my neighbor, which of course was shocking because I hardly ever see anybody except, you know, the doorman, people that I expect to see. So first I jumped back, talk about leaping bunny, and we both laughed, and I said, you know, this is so weird because the natural human tendency is to come together instead of apart. So we started talking. This is a woman who lives just directly across the hall from me. And we had the nicest talk. And I felt like I just went to a party. So it was really special. We were 10 feet apart, but we still had a really nice talk. So it's great to be having a really nice talk with you as well. So the quotation for today, for April 26th, comes from Lit From Within, and it says, "Forgive someone something. You'll be closer to what is divine because you will be doing something that is divine." So I would love to hear from you in the comments, your thoughts on forgiveness. Have you forgiven anybody lately? Have you forgiven yourself lately? It's interesting. I think we find reason to forgive other people every now and then, but you know, we kind of have to forgive ourselves a lot, and sometimes that's a little bit harder. I think that the point of forgiveness is not so much to absolve somebody else, because we don't have the power to do that anyway, but to free ourselves of carrying a burden of resentment. And sometimes I think if we don't forgive somebody, it kind of stays with us. It's sort of like some maybe dirt in the grates above the stove or somewhere that it's just really hard to get to, and it's nasty and icky, and it gets worse over time. So there was somebody in my childhood that was unkind to me, and so I just filed that person away under unredeemable, and just kind of let it go, but didn't really, and didn't have anything to do with them until a point in adulthood when the person showed up in my life and once again was just incredibly unkind. And so that gave me all kinds of reasons, like, well, oh yeah, okay, I want to forgive everybody, I want to be free, I want to go forward, but we're just going to let that person stay over there in the icky place. But you know what? As long as that person is in the icky place, I am right there in the icky place with them. So forgiveness is cool, and sometimes it gets complicated. I've been going through something lately where someone's misjudgment caused harm to people that I care about. And so what do you do with that in terms of forgiveness? And what I'm coming to see is it's that almost biblical justice versus mercy thing, that first I have to make sure that the people who were harmed are taken care of. And then it has to stop. No more allowing myself resentment, hard feelings, revenge, because that's where I get out of the forgiveness space. So I would love to hear your guys' experience and what you've done with this. And then in terms of forgiving ourselves, oh my gosh, that's so tough, because certainly for a lot of the little stuff, you know, your friends will say, oh my God, I did this thing. And then they tell you what it is. And maybe it was something they just did, or maybe it was something they've been carrying around for years and years and years. And you're like, that was it? You know, that's the thing that you've been hating yourself for and feeling like you're such a terrible person, because to somebody on the outside, it's like, nobody's perfect. And yet when it's us, it's like, oh, woe is me. How could I do this terrible thing to somebody else? Or how could I do this terrible thing to myself? You know, I have to forgive myself every day I don't exercise, but not forgive myself to the point that I don't exercise the next day. So the longer we go on living an intentional life, I think the more complicated it gets. You know, when you're a little kid, you only have to worry about what is right and what is wrong. And then the longer we're on earth, we get to deal with discernment and shades of gray. So I want to see what people are writing. Phil says, is that a disco ponytail? I don't know, is that what you call it? To me, it is an au français ponytail to one side of the head. I don't know, this whole hair thing. It's the coronavirus hair book. Somebody ought to do that, the coronavirus hair book. It could have pictures in it. But as I deal with hair during this period, one thing is I miss myself, because for years I've had the same haircut, which maybe means I'm in a rut. But y'all know I love the 1920s, I love Auntie Mame, that whole thing. And so I had this bob, and that's just me, you know, I'm the one with the bob. And now I don't have a bob because I'm growing all this hair. And it's interesting that it kind of reminds me of life when I was young and used to have longer hair. It's kind of fun to play with, it's kind of artistic, but because I am a completely blow dryer challenged person, I can't do anything that looks good in the regular hair world, so I have to play with these updos and head wraps and whatnot. And this morning, because I'd had my hair wrapped up, I washed it yesterday and put it in, you know, kind of a twist, and didn't take it out last night. So when I took it out today, it was all kind of curly. So I thought, is it long enough to put over to one side and do that French ponytail thing? So I did. And Phil, if it's a disco thing, okay, I'll do that too. I'll go play some disco music right after this, and maybe that's how I'll get my exercise in today. So, what are other people saying? Thank you, Susan. I love the bunnies too. They remind me of PETA. They remind me of people like you who are devoting your life to animals. Oh, thank you, Tina Louise. Okay. If anybody has something that you want to talk about, by all means, tell me that, and we will talk about that. And in the meantime, while I'm waiting to see what you guys post here, I will make a couple of announcements. Now, I talked before, but I want to say this again because it's just about to end, and I don't want you not to get the chance of having something free. So my compassionate eating class, pardon me for looking away from you, I want to find the correct URL, and if I don't see that, then I will just post it on Facebook. But anyway, I'm doing a class called Compassionate Eating for Unity Spiritual Explorers, and they're making all of their classes. They have some really great self-paced online classes, and through April 30th, these classes are all free. So I'm sure you can find it if you just Google Compassionate Eating, Spiritual Explorers. If I said Compassionate Living, it's actually called Compassionate Eating. And to get it for free, it'll tell you it's $59.95. But to get it for free, you just go ahead and register as if you were going to pay for it. But then when it gives you the opportunity to put in the discount code, it's the same discount code for any of those Unity classes if you wanted to take them. And it's prayer 123. So you just put in prayer 123, no caps, and the class automatically becomes free. And it's a really, really wonderful class to let your veg curious friends know about, because there's so much talk going on about how maybe for the planet and all these infectious diseases and all these other reasons, we really need to be looking at being more plant-based as a society, as a planet. And so if you've got some people that you know who are interested in that, then tell them that you got a nice free class that they can take if they sign up quickly. Hi, Rachel. You're saying, I experienced the freeing nature forgiveness can provide, and I have begun to try to reformulate situations to look from, and in my state of technical lack of expertise, it says see more, but I can't get it to see more. So I'll see more afterwards when I read it. And if you guys are all interested in Rachel's beautiful take on forgiveness, then you can check out those comments as well. So, Phil, God, disco size. Okay, staying alive. Boy, that's the song for spring 2020. So I think I'm just gonna leave it at that. Maybe today, each of us can make a point to forgive someone something. And if that person that we forgive happens to be us, that's good too. God bless everybody. Have a wonderful rest of this day. Bye-bye.